Hi everyone, this is Sunny from planeus. Today I will show you how Unleashed and planeus work together through our integration. If you're using Unleashed, you probably already know how its production module connects to your assemblies, sales orders, products, and inventory. But the production team still needs to answer when can we actually make it? Which resource will do the work? Do we have enough capacity? And what is happening on the shop floor? And this is the gap where Planeus is here to fill. So here we are in Unleashed in the BOM overview. For this demo, we're using a simple table example. To produce this table, we will need one tabletop and four table legs. After that, these components will be brought together on an assembly line to create a finished table. So here you can see the set of products we use for the example. The tabletop is a component product. In this example, we need one tabletop for each finished table. Next, we will have the table legs, and the table legs are also component products. Together with the tabletop, they form the main components of the finished product, the table itself. However, this alone is not enough for planning because even the product exists in the database, we do not know yet how to produce it. And now we're moving into Planeus, the master data module. Through the integration, Unleashed can automatically provide the product number, product name, units of measure, and basic product information. But what we need here is to add operational routing to make it plannable. That means which work steps are needed, how long does each step take, and what kind of machines, lines, stations, and operators does it need for each step. With this information, then Planeos can actually schedule it in the production plan. As you can see here, in Planeos, operational routing is called technology. It tells Planeos how the article is produced or processed. And this is where Planeos add the planning intelligence that does not live normally in Unleashed or other product catalogs. So let's look at the technology of the tabletop as an example. The tabletop comes from Unleashed as a product data, and in Planeos we will define its technology. For example, to produce this tabletop, we need three steps: raw material cutting, sanding, and painting. Now, Planeos knows how the tabletop is made, and of course, each step needs a duration. This duration tells Planeos how long a step takes. For example, cutting the raw material for one tabletop might take 5 minutes. If the order quantity increases, the duration increases too. This is how Planeos turn a quantity of order into a planned time. Since production planning is about generating an actionable plan, it does not just schedule against your assembled by days in Unleashed. It also plans against capacity of your machines, stations, employees, and other limited resources. For example, to cut the raw material, we need a saw to be available. And after that, of course, we need an available slot at a standing station. And then we need an available capacity in the painting booths. In this setup, I did not assign the work step to one fixed station, I assigned it to a resource group. This means that planners can decide when a certain station inside that group should be doing the task based on the availability when that work is scheduled. This gives the planner much more flexibility and makes your scheduling much more accurate. And of course, in Planeos, you can add more advanced allocation rules as well. For example, you can set up color sequences to reduce changeover time, or you can add parallel resource, such as a critical tool, a qualified operator for a specific task. In this example, cutting the raw material does not only require an available saw, it also requires a certified saw operator. This means every time a tabletop needs to be cut, Paneos will check both conditions. First of all, is the saw available? And then, is there a certified operator available? For example, here we have Laura, Owen, and Samuel. If anyone here is available, these tasks will be scheduled. So, now we are also able to make sure that the right tool or the right people are available to do the work. With planeus, we can treat different components differently when planning as well. If we look at a table leg that comes from Unleash as a component product, it gets its own technology in planeus. That means that it might use the same steps as the tabletop, for example cutting, sanding, and painting, but they could come with different durations, even, for example, with different resource groups or require different people. Last but definitely not least, we look at the technology of the finished table. For the finished table, the steps are only assembly and load testing. Assembly will use one of the assembly lines, and the load testing will use the mechanical test rig as well as a 100 kg weight designated as a parallel resource. Now we have finished setting up the routing and the product is plannable. It makes sense to receive the actual order from Unleashed. Now we go back to Unleashed for the second type of data, production order, or what was called in Unleashed the assembly. The assembly can be generated by a production order, inventory order, sales order, or replenishment requirement. For example, a customer from the company John and Joe Limited has ordered 100 tables, and this creates a sales order that we need to deliver before 31st of July. Since at the moment we only have 2 tables in the inventory, so Unleashed has automatically created an assembly order to make the rest 98 tables. This means that this assembly order of 98 tables will also generate a sub-assembly of 392 pieces of table legs and a sub-assembly of 98 tops. Because of all 3 articles and components already plannable in Planeus, this order can now become a real schedule. To synchronize the assembly to Planeus, you just need to set the status of all assemblies to Planeus live. And now, the order data will be synced to Planeus. Once an assembly is synchronized to Planeus, it will be scheduled by default. Here you can see the actual complete dates based on your production capacity, and by request, these actual completed days calculated by Planeus could also be sent back to Unleashed. Now we're in the Gantt chart. This is where the order becomes visible on the timeline. It uses the work steps, durations, resource groups, sequences, and required dates to generate this plan. It creates a plan that is based on real operational constraints. Now, planners can also check your capacity. If there's not enough capacity at the same time for your production and your resource utilization, by default, these unscheduled orders will remain unscheduled. However, they could also be forcefully scheduled in a way where we call plan anyway. Of course, this will create problem in the plan, which we call conflicts. This might include overloads, missed delivery dates, or timing issues. This is the wheel in the config radar where you can see all these problems that has occurred. Instead of checking every order manually, the planner can see which problems need attention. By using a config radar, you can fix these conflicts directly in Planeus. They can move the work, change the sequence, or even find other suitable resource for the job. Now, we have solved 2 conflicts at once. Order changes the production planner did in Planeus can be sent back to Unleashed so that it recalculates the delivery date and therefore keep the schedule realistic no matter it's on the shop floor level or on the sales level. Planeus also includes a real-time execution module called the workbench. This is where the operators can register the start, stop, finish status as well as putting their actual time, good quality, scrap materials, and setup progress. These lab planners know what really happened comparing with the plan. Once the production is finished in Planeus, it will be shown as completed and Planeus can flush this result back to Unleashed. This can update the order status, complete the quantity, scrap, production time, and material consumption in Unleashed. So Unleashed will also stay updated with the final production outcome. Now, when all the assemblies, that means the projects, are completed in Planeus, they will also be completed in Unleashed. Now we can see our order to Joy and Joe Limited is now fulfilled. You can now then complete this sales order. With Planeus and Unleashed, we can turn demand from your sales department into an actionable production plan. And there are many more planning mechanisms you can apply in Planeus, from allocation rules to machine capabilities to operator qualifications and more. So, if you would like to talk through your own planning challenges and requirements, the best way to get a feeling for it is to reach out to the Planeus expert team. We will be happy to explore it with you. We also have a free demo system where you can have first-hand experience on how easy and intuitive it is to plan using Planeos. Thank you very much for your time and wish you a nice day.